So EA Sports have just dropped their FC25 Premier League Team of the Season nominees, and I am going to be in this video choosing my Premier League Team of the Season from the nominees, obviously, that have been chosen, the 40 players that they have selected. Now, I've not had a look so far at the players that have been selected, so this is all going to be new to me. I'm going to be doing it with you live in this video. And let's be real, with EA, they always leave out someone who's dead on for a Team of the Season, or someone who deserves at least, at the minimum, to be in the conversation for a Team of the Season. They always leave someone out, and they always put in some names that are absolutely nowhere near Team of the Season. So obviously, I'm looking forward to seeing who they've chosen in these 40 players, but let's just get straight into it. And so here we are. This is the Premier League Team of the Season. This is my first impressions, obviously, on the Team of the Season. I'm going to be looking this way, obviously, because my monitor is pointing this way, so I will be looking away from the camera at times during this video. But Matt Sells, David Raya, Jordan Pickford, Alisson Becker and Henderson are the 5 options for the goalkeepers for Premier League Team of the Season. Now, for me, there's a very, very simple choice for goalkeeper, and that is going to be Matt Sells. But that's, I mean, well, they've taken me elsewhere. But I think when you look at the rest of the options, I think Matt Sells is probably the most standout goalkeeper for this season for Nottingham Forest. He's been a big reason why, obviously, they have been in the top 3 of the Premier League for the majority of the season. He's got the most clean sheets in the Premier League this season. He's pulled off some outstanding saves to win Forest points in some games. I think he's got the most goals prevented in the Premier League this season as well. Don't get me wrong, there's some admirable shouts on there. You know, David Raya's pulled off some unbelievable saves this season. He's been really good for Arsenal. Jordan Pickford as well, the same for Everton. I think he's been massive for them this season. Even for Dean Henderson for Crystal Palace, I think, has put in some really good performances. Alisson as well for Liverpool whilst he's been fit this season. Obviously, we know the quality of Alisson Becker. So those are 4 actually really good options. They usually put a dud in the goalkeepers. So I'm actually going to say that they are 5 actually pretty good options for the Premier League goalkeeper of the season. But for me, I'm putting Matt Sells in. I think this one's quite comfortable. But let's go on to defenders over here. It is taken. Okay, yeah, okay. No, sorry, I'm all over the place. Okay, we moved on to the defenders. Oh my god, we are absolutely everywhere right now. Van Dijk is straight in for me. I don't even need to look at the rest of the players. Van Dijk goes straight into a Premier League team of the season for me. Obviously, the form in which he is displayed for Liverpool this season, he's just an imperious figure. He is a constant at the back for Liverpool, in which has been one of the best defenses in the entire world this season. So for me, Van Dijk comfortably goes in. Whoever gets in alongside him, we'll have to see. Now, Gabriel's an option. Gabriel has been fantastic this season for Arsenal. I think he's probably been the better out of the two, him and Saliba. So I would go with Gabriel over Saliba, but let's just quickly see who else there is. Robinson. I'm going to put Robinson in for now. I don't see another left back here. Oh, they have Kirkez as well. I'm going to go Robinson instead of Kirkez. I think Robinson's just a little bit more complete of a player than Kirkez. Kirkez is a really promising young fullback at Bournemouth this season. A lot of people have obviously been talking about him. But for Robinson, I think he's just a little bit defensively more mature than Kirkez. And on top of that as well, he's got 10 assists in the Premier League this season. So for me, Robinson's going to go in at left back. Looking at the rest of the centre-backs, we've got Milenkovic, Saliba, Murillo, Konate. It's really, really tight. There's some good options here. For me, I'm going to go with Milenkovic for Forest. I've just edged him ahead of Gabriel. And I've just edged him as well ahead of Konate, who have been both fantastic for their clubs this season. Konate has been outstanding alongside Van Dijk at the back for Liverpool. And Saliba's, obviously, we know the qualities which Saliba has as well. But Milenkovic has been so good for Nottingham Forest. Whenever I've watched them this season, him and Murillo in the centre-back roles for them have been absolutely solid. He's popped up with some big goals as well, Milenkovic. I think he's been fantastic. So he's going to go in my Premier League team of the season at centre-back, just ahead of Gabriel, Saliba and Konate. But yeah, I'm sure some people will not be the biggest fans of that. But I'm backing myself here. For right-back, most people might put Trent in. And don't get me wrong, Trent has had some really good moments this season. I'm gonna put Aina in. I think that he deserves it. I don't know why it's taking me all the way over there, but I think that Aina deserves it over Trent Alexander-Arnold. Now, Trent Alexander-Arnold, first of all, hasn't really played as much as maybe he should do to get in a Premier League team of the season, at least for me. Aina has been a constant in that Nottingham Forest backline, whether he's playing in the wing-back role, whether he's playing at the right full-back role in a back four. Aina has been so consistent this season, defensively really strong, good ability to get up and down the pitch as well. So for me, that is going to be my back four. Funnily enough, 3 of my back 4 are coming from teams that are not conventional Premier League Big Six teams, which is quite interesting. And same with my goalkeeper as well. Only 1 Big Six player so far in the first 5 choices of my Premier League team this season. I'm sure there's to be some people that disagree with that, but if you look at the Premier League this season, the trend of how the league has gone, I guess it makes sense because there have been a lot of smaller teams in the Premier League that have been pushing the bigger teams and competing up there for Champions League football. We're seeing that in the race for Champions League football right now as well. So for me, I'm going to go with Aina as my right back. Now, moving into midfielders, I have a feeling this one's going to get sticky. We've got Cole Palmer, Gravenberch, Matheus Cunha, Damsgaard, Moises Caicedo, Morgan Gibbs-White, Declan Rice, Youri Tielemans, Kluivert, Iwobi, Bruno Fernandes, Bruno Guimaraes, McAllister, Rodgers, and Elanga. Don't know why they've got Elanga, because Elanga's a forward, and I'll probably class Rodgers as a forward, even though technically he is an attacking midfielder, so we'll allow that one. This is an interesting one for me. This is really difficult. Now, I think for my first choice in midfield, let's get Gravenberch in there. And I'm gonna choose both of the Liverpool midfielders, Gravenberch and McAllister. They've been the engine room of this Liverpool team this season. Gravenberch definitely started off the better of the two. I think McAllister probably started the season the slower of the two midfielders. Gravenberch was absolutely unbelievable. The way he would not only defend in the midfielders, acting as that defensive midfielders that a lot of people said that Liverpool needed going into this season. He did that role really well, but also carrying the ball forward in the midfield, the way he turned players, absolutely unbelievable, and he's showing signs of being a world-class midfielder in the future. So Gravenberch goes in my team of the season, but McAllister also does as well, because I think as the season's gone on for Liverpool, McAllister has become more and more integral for them in this title win. McAllister, I would probably say, has actually overcome Gravenberch into the second half of the season as the most important midfielder in Liverpool's midfield. So for me, those two would easily go into my midfield. I'm very comfortable putting in them in there. My question is, who is the third? Morgan Rodgers has been exceptional this season. Bruno Guimaraes for Newcastle was really, really good this season. Bruno Fernandes, he's been really good the second half of the season, but I can't put him in a team this season. Manchester United have been too horrible. You've got Youri Tielemans, who's been absolutely outstanding for Aston Villa this season. I think he's gone massively under the radar. Declan Rice has been phenomenal in Arsenal's midfield. Morgan Gibbs-White has kept things ticking in Nottingham Forest's midfield and has been a big part of the reason why they're doing what they're doing this season. Moises Caicedo is quite good, but has he had the season that maybe he could have? Maybe not. Matheus Cunha has been unbelievable for Wolverhampton Wanderers. Cole Palmer, he had an incredible start to the season. He's obviously cooled down a little bit as the season's gone on, no pun intended. But for me, I'm not going to go Cole Palmer. I think Cole Palmer, if he continued the form that he was in coming into this year, then I think Cole Palmer will be a cert for this team. I'm not going to put him in. Matheus Cunha, I think he drops out for me of a team of the season just because of some of the discipline issues he's had this season. I think he's cost Wolves maybe points at times by being a little bit petulant, getting red cards, even though he's been phenomenal. I'm looking at Declan Rice, Morgan Gibbs-White, and Youri Tielemans. They are the 3 that I'm eyeing out the most at the moment. Morgan Rodgers, don't get me wrong, exceptional this season. Don't get me wrong as well with Bruno Guimaraes. Gibbs-White, Declan Rice, Youri Tielemans. I'm going to go with a really, really underrated pick. Youri Tielemans has been absolutely unbelievable for me this season in Aston Villa's midfield. He's a big reason of not only, obviously, I know I'm going into the Champions League here, but he's not only a big reason of what they've been doing in the Champions League. I think he's been Aston Villa's best player this season. I think he is absolutely exceptional in the midfield. Some of the passes that he picks, the overall intelligence of his game, the ability to be combative as well and get around the park. I think he's been so good for Aston Villa. I think he's gone massively under the radar for them. So I'm going to go with Youri Tielemans in my midfield. I'm sure there's going to be people that are going to flame me for that. I'm sure people will say Declan Rice and stuff like that. I don't know. For me, I'm just going to go with Youri Tielemans. That's my gut feeling. Going into the attackers, we've obviously, let's just put him in. Probably the greatest single Premier League season we've ever seen. Mohamed Salah, absolutely a no-brainer for this team of the season. He goes straight in. The question is, who are the other two picks? That's really all we're asking here. We've got Alexander Isak, Chris Wood, Erling Haaland, Brian Mbeumo, Bukayo Saka, Ollie Watkins, Jean-Philippe Mateta, Heung-min Son, and Yohan Wissa. Now, this is interesting because who do we go with? This is a tough one, you know. Now, first of all, I'm going to rule out Bukayo Saka. He spent too much of the season out injured. He's an unbelievable player. For me, doesn't get in this. Heung-min Son, not been good enough for Tottenham this season. I've actually been looking at him. Why is Heung-min Son even in this? Yeah, he is one of those players. I told you at the beginning of this video, there's always players that make it in this team of the season selection. They have no right to be in team of the season. Heung-min Son is that guy this season. He has no business being in here. Ollie Watkins as well probably doesn't have any business being in here for the amount of times he's been dropped for Aston Villa this season, although he still scored a fair few amount of goals. So that's a little bit more fair, I guess you could say. This is a tough one. For me personally, when I'm looking at players, I think I'm going to firstly put Alexander Isak in. I think he's been phenomenal for Newcastle this season. He's gone a little bit off the boil in recent times, even though, as I'm recording this video tonight, Newcastle won 5-0, and Alexander Isak did get on the score sheet. I'm going to go with Alexander Isak on the left-hand side. The question is who I put in as the next striker. I know a lot of people will probably say Chris Wood. I'm going to go Erling Haaland. Now, there's a little bit of bias, Manchester City coming into this. I'm not going to lie, lads. Erling Haaland scored more goals than Chris Wood this season. That is the metric that I'm using. And obviously, I know a lot of people want to put Chris Wood in there. Unbelievable season for Nottingham Forest. Scored a ridiculous amount of goals. I don't actually know specifically how many goals he scored this season, but I know he scored a lot, Chris Wood. He has led the line for that Nottingham Forest team. I've just realised something as well. I've not got a single Arsenal player in this team of the season. That is another thing that I'm sure comment section will pick me out on. And I'm just going to go with one more look through the players in this team of the season 11 and see if there's anyone that I switched out. Maybe someone I've missed out on. Maybe I've got something wrong down the line. Chris Wood, Mbeumo, Saka, Watkins, Mateta, Son, Wissa. They don't get ahead of the front three that I've selected. Then going into the midfield, McAllister, Gravenberch, Yuri Tielemans. Matheus Cunha does have a good shout for being in there, but Yuri Tielemans has been so good this season, in my opinion. Gibbs White is probably another one that people will put in there ahead of Yuri Tielemans, who I put in there. Declan Rice. Should we put Declan Rice in there for Arsenal representation? Because Arsenal haven't been incredible this season. I don't think they don't deserve a player in there. That's the only thing. I know that they've not been at their personal best this season, but do they deserve not to have a player in the team of the season? Am I weighting this against Arsenal players because they probably not exceeded my expectations this season? It's tough. It's tough. I'm looking at Declan Rice and thinking maybe he goes in. Maybe I bring Yuri Tielemans out. Oh, where is it? Maybe I bring Declan Rice in. Is that fair? I don't know. I don't want to bring Tielemans out. I think he's been phenomenal for Aston Villa this season. But Declan, I feel like we need to get some Arsenal representation in there. Can we go into the back line? Gabriel, maybe for Milenkovic? I think Milenkovic has been so good this season, though. This is really tough, you know, because I feel like Arsenal players deserve a little bit more representation in this side. Because they are second in the league. But when you look at it, to be fair, we've only got 4 Liverpool players in there. I don't know. So after 5 minutes of deliberation, I've not changed my team. I've looked around. I've looked at the options. This is my Premier League team of the season. I think I've decided on it here. Out of the options that have been given, I've not even thought about, you know, options outside of the team, who I change from this team of the season. Maybe there are players I will bring in. The first player that springs to my mind in terms of a player that I do think definitely deserves a shout for the team of the season is Daniel Munoz from Crystal Palace at right back. He is one that I'd definitely be thinking about putting in at right back, but he's not in the selection, so it doesn't matter. But there are options outside of the team that maybe could go into this to change it. But from the options that I've looked at here, from analysing and looking at it for about 5 minutes after I made the previous selections, I've not changed anything after I put Declan Rice into the team. I think that that's going to be my team of the season 11. I think I'm going to agree to the terms and conditions of EA Sports, and I think I'm going to submit my vote. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is my team of the season, my Premier League team of the season for FC25. I like it. I think it's a good mix of, Nottingham Forest, who look like they could finish third. Now, they might drop out of the Champions League spaces as we get into the final period of the season. But defensively, they've been absolutely outstanding this season. Sels, Milenkovic, Aina have been a big part of that. So I'm happy having those three in there. Van Dijk, obviously, for obvious reasons, absolute colossus at the back for Liverpool. Absolutely deserves to be in there. Robinson's been the best left back in the Premier League for me this season, so he goes in there. Gravenberch, McAllister, I think that they are non-negotiables. They are definitely in there. The other midfield position for me, it's close. I think you could go with a few players in here. I don't think you're wrong if you choose Declan Rice. I don't think you're wrong if you go Mateus Cunha. I don't think you're wrong if you go Morgan Gibbs-White, maybe even Yuri Tielemans, as I said before. I think all of those players have a genuine shout for that third slot in the midfield in this team. But I feel like a mixture of wanting to at least have one Arsenal player who has finished second in this team, as well as Declan Rice having a good season. I don't want to underplay how good he's been this season. Not as good as last season, but he's been great this season as well. I think it's fair to go with Declan Rice in there. Mohamed Salah, of course, off the right-hand side. Isak has to be in the team because he's been phenomenal. And then for me, the only real contentious point that maybe people might say I'm being a little bit biased for is having Erling Haaland in ahead of Chris Wood. But I don't think that's an outrageous shout by any means, because Erling Haaland has still scored more goals than Chris Wood this season. Is an absolute beast of a centre forward. Yes, of course, he's not still hit the heights that he did in the first season at Manchester City, but he's still a goal scoring freak and scores a ridiculous amount of goals. The only reason you put Chris Wood in there for me is if you're judging it off of the fact out of the amount of chances that Chris Wood gets compared to an Erling Haaland. So that would be the only debate I think you could maybe have in terms of replacing a forward. But that for me is my team of the season for the Premier League for FC25, EA Sports team of the season. Let me know anything in this team that you disagree with in the comments below. Who would you choose? Let me know who you chose in your team of the seasons in the comment section below. Let me know if there's any content you would like me to see me bring to this channel. And if you do enjoy the content, please consider hitting a like button on the video to boost it in the algorithm, subscribing to the YouTube channel to help grow the channel and all of that good stuff. But until next time, I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you for viewing. Peace.